if Governor Duke should introduce me, he should introduce me as one who sat under him. I worked as Government House MC for 8 years. I was very dedicated and consistent in what I was doing.
If you were not doing radio, what would you be doing?
I'll be doing radio. If I weren't doing radio, I'll be doing radio. I used to live somewhere in Edmouth.
Okay.
So the bus has to come pick me up from about 3:30 because when I'm on morning duty.
Is that something that you struggled with trying to, balance your appearance and what you were earning
If
and
you're
the
following
job?
me on social media, there's something I'm going to say: don't go broke trying to look rich. Act your wage. And don't live a champagne life on a beer income. Permit me to invite His Excellency to please come forward. He will leave his seat and come. When you're with the microphone, you're the man in charge. Possibility should be your watchword. It is possible. I can do it. I can make it.
We're talking about your legacy. There was a double E. There was a double E.
Joanna, please don't go there. I beg. I don't want to die.
No. Nobody. The uber talented, the amazing, the one of a kind broadcaster and compare right here in the city of Calabar in Nigeria, and of course in Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, we have the one, the only, the amazing Double E in the studio this evening. Round of applause. Finally, we have you in our space. It has been a long time coming.
So God be all the glory.
I couldn't agree less.
Let's go.
Thank you so much for joining me this evening.
Thank you very much. It's
How are
my
you
pleasure
feeling?
to be here.
How are you feeling?
Feeling a lot better today because I had to. I didn't want to disappoint you again.
Thank you very much for
I'm
not
here.
disappointing
I'm
me.
here.
Now, you always mention how your schedules are always very busy. You're moving from one event to another, trying to ensure that everything is in order. Now, what is your typical Friday like? If I did not disturb your life,
No.
folks.
Okay, my typical Friday, work, and home. I have very regimented lifestyle. If I'm busy, I am busy. If I'm not busy, I'm back home. I don't. My social space is very limited, and I rarely go out. So it's very difficult for you to catch me at any point, and you say, okay, maybe it was at one lounge or to chill and all of. No, I've done all of that. I'm done with it.
Been there, done that.
Now is money. It's for the Benjamins. You know what I mean? So my typical Friday after now, I'm back home and then just have fun, create my excitement, create my fun as well.
So it's safe to say that you've had the jiggy life and you're done with that.
I'm still very young. Don't mind
yes,
me.
I know.
Very, very young. But I started the broadcast work very early. Immediately, I left secondary school. I had to, run for my talent, just to discover myself. And trust me, I've had my ups, I've had my downs, and trust me, it's enough. So now I need to be focused on what puts food on my table. That's my office and my work. So I really have time to, to relax. So Fridays for me is like, thank God it's Friday, I'm done. So I need to go rest.
Well, it's good to focus on what pays your bills.
Exactly.
Anyway, let's get right into it. Like I said
Okay.
earlier, you were a very phenomenal broadcaster and compare right here in the city of Calabar. It's good to see that Calabar has made somebody as phenomenal as you. Now, let's go back to your childhood, right? What was it like growing up, and who was Effiong Ekpenyong, if you can remember far back to your childhood?
Local, if I could be from Odubangi to be very precise, Odubangi local government area.
Okay.
I started off with Aku Nursery School and then moved to the first and only at a time privately owned boarding nursery school, Kadanga International Nursery School. And later on,
Does that sound like bragging?
Yes, I will. At the time, it was the only and the first and only privately owned boarding nursery school, at my time. And then I left. I didn't go to any, sophisticated private, secondary school. I went to Army Day Secondary School, Ikoransa, Eburuto Barracks, Calabar. You know what I mean? Growing up for me was very challenging because I grew up under the tutelage of a civil servant. My mom was a core career civil servant who mad no take nonsense. She doesn't entertain any form of bad behavior.
Mm.
And then I grew up also with my late grandmother, and she was my cheerleader. She was my best friend. She encouraged me. But growing up, everybody wanted me to become a lawyer. I just wanted, hey, because I talk too much,
Okay,
and all
explains
of
it.
that. But my grandmother's house was next door to Cross River Broadcasting Corporation at the time.
Mm.
So I'll sneak in there to pick up old news bulletin, and thank goodness we had an uncle, Ereta Mako. So I'll
Okay.
pick up old bulletin. I would try mimicking, what
The
they do on the
presenters.
radio, and then I would use a torchlight as my microphone, then stand in front of the mirror. So it all started
So I'm
back
not
then.
crazy.
Yes. So I started off that way, and my mom at some point wanted me to be a lawyer, and the lawyer you must become. But when you plan, you have a plan set out. At some point, life will just happen.
True.
So I now decided that what, I think this thing is not working. So I went. I was in University of Calabar at the time to study a diploma in applied economics.
Okay.
So I spent some years here from year 2001 or thereabout.
Mm.
And then we got caught up with terrible strike at the time. And then I finished. When I finished, I said, okay, you know what? I wasn't going to be ready. I wasn't mentally ready to go back to do the direct entry thing.
Mm.
So I went to CRBC to discover myself. I was discovered by Emmanuel Adie during a show
Okay.
in Akampa where I was doing my A-level program. So that's where the journey started.
Mm.
And then throughout my journey on the radio, I started as a radio boy, like what you're doing right now.
Mm.
I started on radio. I presented programs. I used to cast news and all of that. But I had people who came into my life to make me who I am today. The name Effiong Ekpenyong,
Mm.
it's an initials EE, that's
Mm.
double E. I was given to be my Peter Tex Atom, who's no more, unfortunately, the
Okay.
godfather. We used to call him Nigeria's number one on radio, the dawn of entertainment. He was one who, christened that name and picked me up, polished me up, cleaned me up, and and made me his godson on the radio. So the journey started from there. And then we had other people who also came in to also, to help polish me up, the likes of Mrs. Afia,
Yeah, I know
Afia,
her.
and the likes of Effiong,
Absolutely.
Dr. Groove and the rest of them. So we had a
Mm.
lot of them who also at one point uh in my life also they encouraged me. So that journey started. I was on the radio for a while
Mm.
until an opportunity came when, because back then we used to have people from the radio
Mm.
go on secondment to government house to become government house compare.
Compares.
So we had the likes of Peter Tex, Emeafia, of Young, and then Etomaedu.
Okay.
They were sent to the government house at the time of Governor Duke.
Okay.
So now Governor Duke sent them to George Washington University for events management course training, and there was an opening. So they asked me and Liz Ogudu, one of my senior colleagues, to go to Government House. That was how my compare life started as Master of Ceremony to the governor. So I went there on secondment to work with Governor Duke. And if you know who Governor Duke is, I'm sure you've read about him.
Absolutely.
Because you were I don't know if you're around when he was.
Yes, I
Well, he was
was.
quite very young.
I
Extremely,
was.
very young, very young. No hard feelings, the
Mm.
Gen Zs and all of that. So you were quite very young. So if you know who Governor Duke is, he is
He's
Mr.
known for
Perfection.
excellence,
So
yes.
he's synonymous with excellence. I worked with him for 4 years. And when they returned, they didn't return me back to the radio.
Mm.
The chief press secretary then, Joseph Ushigiale, asked that I should continue with the job. So I stayed on. And when Governor Duke was leaving, Governor Moke inherited me. I worked as government house MC for 8 years.
Mm.
Now that's how my journey into comparing to compare events started.
Yeah.
And then also Governor Ayade came. I
Mm.
didn't also leave. Inherited me, took me along, and I also continued.
Great.
But now if you add 4 governor, no, I think it was 3 because I came in second term of Governor Duke.
Mm.
If I think 3 or 2 years, if you take that 2 and add plus 8 of Imoke, 8 of Ayade, you're
Ayade.
looking at
Around
10.
Mm.
No, you're looking at
17, around 17,
yeah, exactly
17, 18.
I beg your pardon.
Mm.
So when Governor Otu was, campaigning and coming, I had made up my mind. I said, you know what? I've had enough. I don't want to do this again. Microphone and me. I think I need to take a break and allow the younger ones, come
Take
on
over.
board and all of that. So I spoke to my colleague at the time, MC Joe.
Okay.
Joseph Young, I think he's been here.
Yes, he has.
So I told Joseph, I said, look, I need to take a break. Get yourself prepared to take on this task of being the government house MC. And that was how, the journey. And then when Governor 2 came in, I was appointed Special Advisor Events Management, Governor's Office. Saddled with the responsibility of organizing the carnival and the festival, the festival actually, the festival component, and also chairing the Carnival Calabar Festival committee. So my journey has been consistency, and your generation, well, no hard feelings.
Oh my God.
I was very dedicated and consistent in what I was doing. Jack of all trade, master of none. No, I think jack of all trade, master of all. So you need to have a bit of diversity. There should be something that you're known for. So that's how my journey to where I am today.
Now, from all that you've said, right, I don't think there was any form of plan. There was no precise plan. I'm going to do this when this happens or this happens. You just went with the flow. When the opportunity came, you took it on. Now, if you were not doing radio, what would you be doing?